Today on America's Court with Judge Ross.
Someone is spending hours at a bar is probably going to smell like alcohol.
But I wonder if he's overdoing it at his young age.
When you say
concerned about
overdoing
his-
it, you're saying overdoing it from a standpoint of working. In my courtroom, it's about equity and fairness. Stop. Is that true? I don't want you to understand. I want you to overstand.
Yes, sir.
That's why they pay me the big bucks. Justice should be more than just some foreign concept. I actually want you to learn something. That's not gonna happen. Not up in here, not today. And boom goes the dynamite.
Fair, firm, compassionate. This is America's Court with Judge Ross. Regina Waters claims she hired a family friend to walk her dogs and loaned him money for new brakes. But he quit the dog walking gig and still owes for the brakes.
All rise. Remain standing and come to order. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Kevin Ross presiding.
Ladies and gentlemen, you may be seated.
Ms. Waters is suing Ryan Jeffries in the amount of $475.
All parties have been sworn, Your Honor.
Third, your Deputy Thomas.
Ms. Waters, you want $475 from Mr. Jeffries, and he is saying he does not owe you that money. Why should the court side with you?
I was kind enough and generous enough to help out my friend and her son.
Why were you so kind and generous?
His brakes failed on his car, and he was working for me as a part-time employee.
Oh, wait,
walking.
hold on a moment. That's legitimate.
Correct.
Because if he can't get to the job that you need him to do, then you're going to have to find someone else. And I take it you had already had a relationship with Mr. Jeffries, yes?
Yes, I have known him since he was a 6-year-old boy. I'm very dear friends with his mother, Angie. And she fell on hard times, lost her job as a waitress. She's a single mom. So I really wanted to help out the family. I hired him to be my dog walker.
And Mr. Jeffries, were you doing dog walking for other people, or was this just for Miss Waters?
It was just for Miss Waters.
Okay, you weren't doing anything else in terms of occupying your time with school or other sources
I'm
of
a part-time bar back, and since my mother got her hours cut as well, I figured I would take up this opportunity to help out at home.
Okay, and you were doing this part-time. What were you doing the rest of your time?
I was a student, and then I picked up a job after school finished to be a bar back, and then started walking the dogs.
So you're working part-time, you're done with school, so how are you occupying your time other than in that vein?
I've just been working at night.
Okay, because you work part-time, right?
Yeah.
So while you were working part-time, did you also take on the additional job that Ms. Waters offered you?
Yes, it was a steady schedule to walk the dog 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, twice a day, and then I could go work at night on the weekends and stuff.
So that kept you pretty full.
Fairly.
And you said something about your mom in terms of helping out. How old are you?
I'm 21.
You're 21. And were you contributing to the household otherwise?
Recently, when my mother worked with Regina,
yes, sir,
and they stopped working at the restaurant.
Wait, you brought a witness. This is your mom, right?
Yes.
Let me have her speak for herself. Ms. Jeffries, come on up, please. Talk to me. What happened with your employment?
The pandemic, and so they got new ownership, and they let go of the current staff and got new staff. So I had to find another restaurant, and I found one, but it was only part-time. I could not full-time right now.
And is Ryan your only child?
Yes.
Okay. And Ms. Waters have known each other for some time?
We worked together at the old place.
And how long did you work together?
15 years.
Would you say you all established a pretty close relationship?
I would say so, yes. She's known my son. We used to watch movies together when he was younger.
Okay. You yourself, family, kids, any of that, or no?
No, I only have my 2 dogs. They're golden retrievers. That's who I consider my family. But I work from home. I'm very busy, and I'm a web designer. And
so with you working from home, the dogs are also at home with you, yes?
Yes, and because of my business...
Can they be a little distracting, and that's why you need somebody else to go walk them?
They're 2 large dogs that have a lot of energy, and I have less and less time nowadays. So I thought of my friend Angie and her son. I really wanted to help Angie out because she took a big cut in her salary.
Well, let me hear from you, Ms. Jeffries. So you were able to find additional work,
yeah,
but
another
not
restaurant,
at the same
but not as many hours,
compensation
not
that
as much
you-
money, not as good tips. No.
And Ryan, you're nodding your head saying, okay, that was when it was time for me to step up and say, let me help mom out.
Yes.
Okay. Had you had any sort of interaction with the dogs before?
I've seen them before. She's had them for quite a while.
But before you started working with them more closely, you didn't really have any sort of connection with them.
Not really a connection.
All right. And how was he as an employee?
He was a bit irresponsible. I know he had a nighttime job, and it turns out he would.
And you've known him since he was 6, right?
Yeah, since he was 6, but he kept late hours being a bar back. And he worked at this bar and would sometimes arrive at the job at my house tired and late. And a few times I did smell alcohol on him, so I was a bit suspicious if he had been drinking.
Coming up on America's Court.
You recall him saying it was going to be to the tune of $735?
No, he never mentioned it. I took the liberty to research online and find out what is the average cost for new brakes for the type of car that
He's got a mom. Why are you doing all that?
If you'll be in the Los Angeles area and want to bring your case to court, call 1-888-552-6878. This is America's Court with Judge Ross, Emmy nominated for Outstanding Legal Courtroom Program. America's Court is back with the case of Regina Waters, who is suing Ryan Jeffries for unpaid debt.
Someone is spending hours at a bar is probably going to smell like alcohol.
But I wonder if he's overdoing it at his young age.
When you say
concerned about
overdoing
his-
it, you're saying overdoing it from a standpoint of working?
I don't want him to arrive to my house drunk, because then he won't be able to give my dogs attention.
When you say arriving to my house drunk, what was it that you could physically observe that objectively someone would say that person's under the influence?
He just seemed tired, not alert.
Okay, tired after working makes sense that he would not necessarily be under the influence of alcohol.
But he was-
And smelling, because here's the thing, when people are tired, that is certainly an indicia of possibly being under the influence. But when you add that to also working at a bar, so those two things alone wouldn't necessarily leave me with the conclusion that he was under the influence. What else?
He was late every time. I employed him Monday through Friday, and he came twice a day, 11 a.m. and 6
So are you
p.m.
associating being late with being under the influence of alcohol?
Yes, being late, being tired, and not very alert.
Were you under the influence of alcohol?
No, I never was intoxicated while working for her. I may have showed up late or missed a walk once or twice.
Well, wait, what do you mean missed a walk once or twice? That's your job, to walk the dogs.
Yeah,
5 days?
There was 1 or 2 occurrences where I woke up past my time of duty.
All right, so you're saying this happened on more than one occasion?
I'd say once or twice.
Once or twice.
But I've never been intoxicated.
Would we go as far as saying as many as 5 times?
No.
All right. Ms. Waters, how many times was he either late or didn't show up?
He only worked for me for about 1 month before he quit, but I would say it was about 4 or 5 times that.
Why did I know that was going to be your answer? So somewhere between 1 and 2 times to as many as 4 to 5 times over the course of a month, he was either late or didn't show up.
Correct, yes.
All right, Ms. Jeffries' mom, what say you in terms of your son? Because as much as we love our kids, and sometimes we have blinders on,
Right.
is what your friend of 15 plus years, is it tracking with your own experience?
I've always raised him to be punctual and to have good.
See, now you're making it about you. I'm asking about him. I know you were probably like, you need to get up and be on. The issue is, did you see anything that would suggest that he wasn't necessarily always doing what you would have wanted him to do?
Right. So no, I don't. I agree that he would be dependable. And
Okay,
reliable.
got it. And we're suing here over.
$475 is the balance on the loan that I gave him. The original amount was $675.
Now, did you accept money, sir, from your employer?
I never asked for that loan.
Let's go back then. Did you have a vehicle?
I had a vehicle.
Did the vehicle have an issue with the brakes?
Yes, it needed new brakes.
How much was that going to cost?
According to her, it was around.
Well, it's your car and your brakes. I'm asking the person
Well, the check
who
she wrote
drives.
was for $675.
I didn't ask about the check that she wrote. I asked you how much did it cost? to
And then
fix
ended
the
up
brakes?
costing $735,
Okay.
60 additional dollars.
So it cost $735 to get these new brakes for you to get to and from your place of employment and walk the dogs.
Yes.
How did she know that there was an issue with your brakes?
I told her that my car is probably going to be due for new brakes, and I'm a little worried about driving the 9-mile commute from my house to hers to get to work safely, especially at night.
Oh, if there was only a way I could be in contact with some money so I can pay and continue to go on these part-time job workings, as well as being able to show up to the dogs, because if I don't have my car, it's going to be really tough.
Well, I did tell Regina that I was going to use my income from the dog walking to pay for the repairs myself with my own earnings.
And in response to that, what do you recall her saying?
She said, actually, over text here.
Want to see it?
I want to see that. Oh, if it's text, then that's something documented.
I'll take
Do you recall there being some text exchange
That's
with,
it. That's all.
with Ryan?
Yes, I do text him because I want to follow up with how my dogs are doing.
Do you recall him saying it was going to be to the tune of $735?
No, he never mentioned it. I took the liberty to research online and find out what is the average cost for new brakes for the type of car that
He's got a mom. Why are you doing all that?
Well, his mom doesn't have enough money. She's struggling. They can't even pay for
But I'm
groceries.
saying even in terms of, I would think they would be doing the research and then saying this is how much it ended up being.
You know, one of the days when he arrived late to my house, his excuse was he had to drive so slow because his brakes were not working and he was worried about breaking down on the street.
And so you took it upon yourself to say, what, let me fix this problem for you?
I said, let me give you a loan. Let me help you out so you can get the repair done quickly. Because if you're going to pay on your own, how long is that going to take you to save up the money?
So here's what we have here. Good morning, Ryan. How are you feeling today? Did you get enough sleep? I'm fine. Heading over for the 11 o'clock walk. And then a couple of days later, the dogs had a great walk. Do you want to stay for dinner after? I made lasagna and there's plenty. Nah, already ate. A couple of days later, good morning, Ryan. Did you eat breakfast? I can make sandwiches for lunch after the walk. No crusts, like you like.
When I was 10.
She's talking about when you were 10 and she would have the sandwiches crustless.
Yeah. I don't know. I felt like she was overstepping my duties.
Great job with Daisy and Dusty today. Those are the two dogs. Mm-hmm. Do you want to stay after the evening walk and watch a movie with me? I can make popcorn. Okay, now my spidey senses are starting to be aroused.
Coming up on America's Court.
Because ultimately, you took the money and used it to get the brakes fixed.
Yeah, I did after she
Had
insisted.
you not had that money from Miss Waters, how would you have gotten the money to pay for the brakes being repaired?
This is America's Court with Judge Ross, Emmy nominated for Outstanding Legal Courtroom Program. America's Court is back with the case of Regina Waters, who is suing Ryan Jeffries for unpaid debt.
This seems like you are taking this job situation and making it a little bit too personal.
Well, since he was young, at the age of 6, the three of us used to hang out at my house and we used to love watching movies together. So I thought he'd want to continue doing that.
Was Miss Jeffries also getting texts saying, would you like to come and watch movies? Would you like for me to make breakfast for you as well? Or?
Well, when we talked by phone, I would invite her. She knew she was always welcome, especially since she had the extra time, only working part-time at the restaurant now.
Is that true?
Oh, yeah, we're friendly, but we haven't had a friend date in a while.
Glad I could help out with those breaks today. Just remember, like we said, I'll take $50 each week from your pay until it's all settled. Shouldn't take long. Okay, but I don't need the money. You can take your check back. And then he says, no, I insist. It's okay. Your $50 raise will cover it. Okay, well, that tends to suggest and support her position that she saw this as a loan.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, you took the money and used it to get the brakes fixed.
Yeah, I did after she
Had
insisted.
you not had that money from Miss Waters, how would you have gotten the money to pay for the brakes being repaired?
I would have saved up a little longer to use my weekly earnings.
So it would have taken you a longer period of time and potentially putting yourself and others in danger by continuing to drive that vehicle.
I would have taken care of it as soon as I could have on my own.
Why are you not thinking that you should have to pay back monies for something that was to your benefit and a benefit also for Miss Waters because she had a dog walking issue that needed to be resolved?
She increased my pay with part of the loan and then deducted that amount. So as you could see on the payment receipts, my income throughout all of this has remained the same. I never actually cost her anything. She increased it and then took away the extra $50.
Coming up on America's Court.
I was teaching him responsibility to earn the
Are
money.
you his mom?
No, I'm an employer.
Do you know who his mom is?
Of course, I know
Do you
Angie
think she's
well.
done a good job raising it?
I think she could have done better.
This is America's Court with Judge Ross, Emmy nominated for Outstanding Legal Courtroom Program. America's Court is back with the case of Regina Waters, who is suing Ryan Jeffries for unpaid debt.
You increased the amount of monies you were paying him and then used that increase to say, I'm going to deduct?
Yes, I gave him a raise to $250, and then I subtracted the $50 installment loan.
Why did you do that?
Just to make it a bit more affordable for him to pay me back. But over time, over a few months, he would have paid back that $675. But he only wound up working a month, and so he only paid me $200.
I worry about you. This is you, Miss Walters. Are you getting enough sleep? You can come over for dinner tonight if you want.
Yes, I always invite the family over.
No, this wasn't necessarily directed towards his mom. This was directed towards Ryan.
But through our phone calls with Angie, I always invite her over. She knows she's always welcome.
I think you were a little too close to this situation, ma'am. The issue is you gave monies, but then you increased his salary. So in essence, you were going to be paying yourself for the loan you otherwise would have given him.
Well, I was teaching him responsibility to earn the money.
Are you his mom?
No, but I'm an employer.
Do you know who his mom is?
Of course, I know
Do you
Angie
think she's
well.
done a good job raising him?
She's been a little distant. I think she could have done better.
So you're going to show her how it's done?
Well, I'm going to help out by being an employer.
Okay. Anything else, Mom, Mrs. Jeffries?
Nope, I like what you're saying. So
You like what I'm saying? Why? You think it's going to ultimately
I
benefit?
think she was breaking boundaries, obviously, as she's thinking about sandwiches and crust breads.
Yes.
And he's 21 years old. That's appropriate when you're 6 years old. I just felt like he did express to me that he was a little concerned about the boundary issues, getting uncomfortable.
Judge Ross's verdict when America's Court returns. This is America's Court with Judge Ross, Emmy nominated for Outstanding Legal Courtroom Program.
Here's what it ultimately comes down to. You're saying this was a gift. She's saying it was a loan. She needed a service provided. Now, if there was no dogs involved and she had just said, I'm going to give you some money and you pay me back, it may be a little bit more of a challenge for me. But based on the evidence and the testimony before this court, the gavel was going to come down in favor of the plaintiff because I see the value that she needed someone to walk those dogs. If she doesn't get that service from you, she's going to have to pay somebody else and establish a relationship with someone else. So she was trying to incentivize you to continue to do what you were doing for her professionally. How much would you say are you saying he still owes you $475?
Yes, because the original amount was $675. He paid.
But you ended up giving him the monies, so you really are entitled to the full amount.
I would prefer the full $675 back.
But you didn't ask for that.
I'm willing to settle and give him a bit of a break, and I just want my $475 back.
I don't think that's unreasonable. Judgment will be in the amount of $475 for the plaintiff. That is the order. Case closed.
All rise.
Judge Ross has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant has been ordered to pay $475.
My final thought is you cashed the check, therefore you accepted the terms of my loan.
I don't believe that is money owed because it is money that you insisted it for me to take.
This has been a production of Allen Media Group.